Serena Williams is here, and she is back, really back. She has just won the Australian Open. She had entered that Grand Slam tournament unseeded because it's been a while since she's won a major Open. In fact, it was back in 2005. Her return has involved getting into shape physically and mentally since she has faced a series of physical and personal trials. But she had long been one of the dominant players in women's tennis. She helped make it a power game. In 2002, she was the #1 ranked player for 57 weeks. Her win on Saturday marked her 8th Grand Slam title. Here is a look at her match point against Maria Sharapova.
Again.
I am pleased to have Serena Williams at this table for the very first time. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Great to have you. Tell me how you did this. No, first tell me what you thought about going into this tournament.
Well, when I first went into the tournament, I was just thinking how I wanted to do well, and I wanted to go far. And whenever I enter a Grand Slam, or any tournament for that matter, honestly, I just play one match at a time. I don't get too far ahead. I don't think about the future. I just have my mind focused on that one event and that one match and that one point. And that's how I go into every event.
Okay, but you were coming after not many Grand Slam victories. You were coming after personal crisis in your life in terms of your sister's death, in terms of other things, injury. Did you believe going in that you could win?
I always believe I can win. I never go into a tournament saying I'm going to lose. You know, I just think, first of all, that's bad thinking. And I'm just thinking, oh, I never say, oh, I hope to do this or I hope to, beat her. I always go into a tournament thinking I have a chance to win or else I'm not going to play.
You were seeded 81st.
Yes.
You had been as low as 144th.
My God.
So what happened? I mean, all of a sudden, we know of your skills.
Yeah.
But tell me what happened.
I think it all turned around in the third round. I was playing the #5 ranked player in the world. And at that point, I hadn't beat a top 10 player in a long time. And I just was down. I was 2 points from losing and being out of the tournament. And then, I just hit this one shot down the line, and I was so pumped up and I was so fired because I didn't want to lose. And it just all came back in me, the feeling of not winning, but going out there and playing my game and doing what I do best, which is out there, which is playing tennis.
And so that moment you said, this could be it, I'm back.
That moment I said, you know what, I'm not going to lose. And, if I do go down, I'm going to go down playing the best I can play. And I always say that if I play well or if I play 50, 60%, it's hard for anyone to beat me, let alone 75 to 90, 100%.
Some people watching what happened will say the one thing you had, you were hungry for this. You really wanted this.
I was very hungry for it. I actually described it as famished, I felt as if I needed it, and not only that, I wanted it. And those combined, just was a real killer. And it was devastating to whoever I was playing. It was and I faced a lot of adversities. I got blisters. I couldn't walk. I would play a match, and after the match, I would hop to the shower. I remember one day hopping on one leg because it was hurting so bad. And then the next day I couldn't even practice. I would just lay down all day. And then I'd go out the next day and I'd play a match. It was all about wanting it more than anything. And I think that was just a major turnaround.
What separates the best players is mainly the mental edge.
I think my dad always said tennis is mental game, 30% is physical and the rest is mental, and you have to have a strong mind. And I think I was able, and I am able to, win a lot of matches. Even if I'm down, I'm always fighting, and always wanting to win.
How's Venus doing?
Venus is doing really well. I talk to her every day. I miss her. I haven't had a chance to go home yet, but I'll be going home soon. And, we can't wait to see each other.
Still play together?
We always practice together, and that's why.
That's what I mean, practice.
Yeah, and I think I did so well in Australia because just before I left, I was practicing with Venus, and she was hitting the ball amazing, and we were playing out points, and she just killed me on everything. She would hit these serves, and then she would come in and just hit these great winners, and I was thinking, wow, I've got to do well in Australia because, this is going to be my last chance to win because she's playing really unbelievable, and I'm hitting with the best hitting partner I can hit with, which would be her. She has the strongest serve. She gets every ball back. She hits harder than me. And she's just has the great volley. She has a great game. And it's like when you practice with someone that's the best and who's playing on the tour and who's a great player, it's, it just works out so great.
Can you come now? Because somebody might have said this at one time about your game. Can you come to the kind of dominance in the women's game that Roger Federer has in the men's game?
I definitely think that's a possibility. I don't think anything is impossible, but that's definitely a possibility as long as, as well as Roger, as long as you stay injury-free. Yeah. Anything can happen on any given day, and it's really important to stay healthy and to try to stay fit. And you can't really decide that for yourself. It kind of happens.
Were you not staying fit?
I definitely got unfit at some different areas, but not to the extreme that I was in the hassle that I was getting in Australia, which was quite interesting. I was actually kind of really fit. I was running for more than I've ever, and I don't like running.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Yeah,
it's not one of my favorite things.
But you had a rocky moment.
Yeah, I had a rocky moment because I went to Australia early, and
because you wanted to win. This was important.
Yeah, this was important. I played a tournament right before the Australian Open, and I lost to a girl I never heard of. And
you didn't know her?
I didn't know her, and I was like, I was so frustrated. But you have to understand, when people play me, they play me very hard. It's like they're going all out just to beat me, and then
they get up for champions.
They get up, but she lost in the next round, in 30 minutes against a player. But she beat me, and I was just so frustrated at that.
So that's what I'm trying to explore. So when you walked out from that, did you say to yourself, I had a bad day, or what the hell's going on with me, and I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed, I'm going to change? It
was more, I'm embarrassed, what's going on with me, I've got to change. I was very upset because I just felt like I could have won. And at the same time, I just felt like, when was I going to win? And everyone was like, oh, she hasn't won a tournament and she hasn't done this. And, you had some people, one person who claimed that I was offending Maria Sharapova and Amelie Mauresmo, the number 1 and number 2 players in the world, by saying that I could be on top again, that I could be a good player. And
you always said that?
I've always said that.
You never thought, I won't be back?
Oh, God, no. Never.
Right. There is this, they say about you, which you've heard 1,000 times. What happened to you, beyond the personal tragedy of your sister's death and parents and all those kinds of things that happen in people's lives, not as severe, not as many in one year as you had. But there was a sense that you were distracted easily by fashion, by television, by becoming an actress, and that you couldn't maintain the focus for tennis if you were also trying to do all this other stuff.
Yeah. I do get distracted easy, but the fact is I love to play tennis. It's my number 1 thing. It's what I'm known for. It's what like I said, I do best. But at the same time, I like to do different things. Like, I love acting, and it's just something if I wasn't a tennis player, or I never knew anything about tennis, I would have wanted to be an actress, because I just like developing different characters. I like going into different characters. I like, I just love that. Also like designing, because I do design everything that I wear on the court, the Nike outfits, and like the little green thing in Australia I had.
Is your game getting better?
My game is getting better. And
better than it's been at its best?
I when I was at my best, so to say, I wasn't at my best. Like people said,
when you were winning the most, you weren't necessarily at your best.
I don't think I was at my best. And when I go back and watch film, like I study film of myself I see in the past, and I was watching this match, the French Open, like when I won the French Open, and I was like, wow, I was playing awful. And even the commentator said, well, Serena won, but she wasn't playing her best today. But, you know, it was, you could just, like, the things that I could do better, to me, were just so much. At the same time, I'm insatiable. Yeah. There's so many, like, I'm just, when it comes to improving, I'm insatiable.
How is your discipline?
Discipline is definitely something that you definitely need. That's all.
I mean, you got to go to bed, you got to practice, you got to
I'm good about going to bed. And, you know, it's just hard. I've been playing, you know, since I was like 3 years old. And, you know, sometimes you just want to say, I don't want to go to practice today, but...
And one time your dad in Florida had you practicing 6 hours a day.
Yeah, we used to practice a lot in the summer. We used to practice a lot, like... several hours, like, yeah.
You know, in reading about you today, I learned something I didn't know, and this is simply because of an omission by me. Mm-hmm. I was always under the impression that your dad had taught you to, but there was a coach who got involved at Florida. I mean, at a certain point, the family moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Because that coach had flown out to Compton, seen you guys, and realized, and wasn't that impressed, yet he realized you had this extraordinary physical possibility.
Yeah.
You were great athletes.
Yeah.
Yes?
That's true. We went to Rick Macey Tennis Academy.
Rick Macey is his name.
Yeah, and Rick Macey was and is a great guy, and he helped us out a lot. My dad was always on the court as well with us. Rick Macey was on the court as well. I mean, sometimes he would be on Venus' court, my dad would be on my court, it would be vice versa. And, you know, he helped us out a lot, and we really appreciate everything that he was able to do. And we had a lot of fun Macy days, you know, we call them. You know, you go to it was like, I think at some point in everyone's life they go to a tennis academy, and you know, we went to a tennis academy.
I used to love to go to a match and see, and if you guys were competing in the semis or the finals, there would be your dad with a camera.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, my dad has been taking pictures of us since he has film of us when we were, I don't know, like 6 and 7 years old, and you know, even when we were really young, he just always have been into cameras and to taking pictures. And it's great because we have so many wonderful memories that, oh my God, we wouldn't have. And it's just awesome.
What did he teach you about winning?
My dad taught me winning is not important if it's done on the tennis court. He said, you're a winner if you're a winner in life, and if you have a good education. Like, we had to make sure that we went to school every day. If we didn't get good A's or B's, at the least we could get was a B, then we couldn't play tennis and we couldn't practice. And he said that you'll never be known as a champion on the court. You know, it's what you do off the court that matters.
He also had to read. I mean, Richard Williams is a figure in terms of when you now think about the development of tennis players.
Yeah.
You guys didn't play the juniors.
No, we didn't play juniors.
Because he thought it was better for you and your mother, too. Give her credit.
My dad and my mom, I like to describe my dad as the body and my mom as the spine, you know, that goes to the body, and they have to work together. And without either one, you can't survive. Yeah. And each one being equally important. So, you know, my dad took us out of juniors. That was his decision. But
because he wanted you what?
No, you go out and you see these, even today, and it's not just in tennis, it's in a lot of different sports. You see these kids playing tennis or whatever sport it may be. And then you see the parents yelling. I remember one parent used to beat the child, and they all yell at the children, or they just expect so much, and the children had felt so much pressure, and then, you know, it was a lot of pressure to feel for a 9-year-old. You know, and it's amazing what, you know, because these parents want success so much, not necessarily for the child, but a lot for them as well. And my dad never wanted us to feel that way. And also he wanted us to go to school, and he wanted us to develop mentally as well.
Yeah, the other thing, though, was that when so many people doubted and thought he was wrong, he kept to his vision, and he was right.
Kind of like I did in Australia. That's where I get it from.
But the vision in Australia was to do what, though?
Well, so many people doubt it, so to say, and you know, I kept saying, you know, I'm knowing, you know, I can beat anybody if I'm playing well, and I guess you can just link that to my dad, you know, and people said, you know, you'll never make a champion, you'll never make a. There's never been a black tennis player to win several Grand. I mean,
Especially
Althea
two.
Gibson, she did amazing, and Arthur Ashe won a couple Grand Slams as well. They were just amazing people, but on a consistent basis, and to change the game of tennis. And I'm not trying to pontificate or anything. I'm just, this is just the facts. You know, a lot of people played harder and ran faster. I can see the difference myself. I mean, I'm playing girls that I played when I first came out on tour, and then now they just play totally different because you had to adapt and you had to change. And, you know, my dad was able, and my mom, of course, they were both able to make that happen, and it's just an amazing thing to be a part of.
But do you think that the edge is for you guys, even though you're remarkable athletes, you and Venus?
Yes.
The edge is that you are tougher mentally rather than your skills are that much better? Both?
Both. Yeah. Her skills
But do you think you're tougher mentally than Sharapova's mentally tough? And that's why in the end you beat her?
Sharapova, I think, is a real mentally tough girl.
Yeah.
I think she's really
Russians
strong in the mind.
Russians are tough generally, most of those Russian players are tough.
Yeah, they're very tough. She's one of the tougher ones in the mind. I think she's really tough in the mind. I do believe that it's definitely something mental, but at the same time, we innovated things like footwork that you'd never seen before that my dad would tell us to do. And, you know, I see Roger Federer doing a lot of stuff that I'm thinking, wow, did my dad teach Roger Federer? Because he does
just gliding to the ball.
Yeah, and he does all the stuff that we don't do that my dad wants us to do, and he's been telling us to do for years.
Like what?
Like, you know, like if someone's, I'm not going to say.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no, because, you know, I'm not giving away my secret because I plan on doing that soon. So I got to
something that he
keep
sees,
surprising.
something that he saw Roger do that you're trying to do.
No, my dad, before I even heard of Roger Federer, he was telling us to do some of the things that Roger's doing, but we never did because, you know, we just either didn't listen or we just was like, oh, or we just couldn't do it. I don't know why we didn't do it, you know, but, you know, it's just the way his way of teaching was so, like, years, literally years ahead of time. And so I think that coupled with great shots and great skill as well as great mental strength has been awesome.
If I had some magical power and I could give you one thing, it's cold in this room, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll be out in a minute. If I could give you one thing, what would it be to enhance, improve, make your tennis better?
I would go for a bigger serve.
Would you really?
Yeah. Like a better serve, like with more, like bigger and, like if I could serve like one of the guys.
Well, yeah.
I'd play 4 times a year and win every time. It would be awesome.
Is the primary difference in the men's game and the women's game the power of the men's serve?
I think it's just the power and the speed in general. I mean, guys are just stronger. It's like Lennox Lewis fighting, you know, a female boxer. It's just, like, men are just stronger.
You and Venus, who's the best?
It's hard to say. We're the best at different things.
Like?
I can break it down.
Like?
I believe my serve is better than hers, although hers
Even though her reputation was about her serve and her...
Yeah, her serve is bigger,
forehand.
and it's definitely stronger, but I believe mine's better. Boy, she gets more balls because she's way taller.
Her reach is...
Her reach is better. If we split it down the middle and get us together on a doubles court, and we're pretty good.
So the French Open is next.
French Open is next.
Can you win?
I can win. I definitely can win. And it's just about me, again, staying healthy and doing the things to win and making sure I do.
And they are?
You know, there are a lot of things on court. And
you mean the difference in the surface or the difference just...
I have to be really fit going into the French Open. I mean, running, I have to get up to running a lot.
Hello? Are you going to do that? I mean, you just learned how sweet victory is.
Why wouldn't I?
Much success.
Thank you so much.
Serena Williams. And the Australian champion goes next to Roland Garros and try to win the French. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.